Hey everybody, this is Kaitlyn Robrock. You might have heard me in such programs as Amphibia as Felicia Sundew, ThunderCats Roar as Gwen the Unicorn, and Mrs Gristidi, Retsuko's mother in Aggretsuko, and Minnie Mouse in Mickey Mouse Funhouse. You're watching In Conversation with Amber the Fangirl, ATF.
Hi guys, Amber here. Welcome back to In Conversation with ATF. My guest today is a big guest, right? She is the voice of Minnie Mouse, the current voice of Minnie Mouse since Russi Taylor passed away. She is such an amazing. She follows beautifully in Russi's footsteps.
Thank you.
You're welcome. She's also the voice of Tommy and Mr. Pickles, Retsuko's mother in Aggretsuko. Did I say that right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Felicia Sundew in Amphibia, and many more other cartoons. My guest is Kaitlyn Robrock. Welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. Yeah. It's lovely to have you here. Wow.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. We spoke in like 2020 is when we first spoke, and now I can
Yes,
finally put a face to a name. Wow.
We finally get the time to chat with each other. It's been so busy.
Yeah, definitely. So, how are you, Kaitlyn?
I'm doing well, thank you. So you're out in England, so it's 6 p.m. over there.
Yeah, 6:12 p.m. currently.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's almost dinner time. I kind of wish it was 6 p.m. here.
Oh, wow. Well, I usually have the same thing for dinner, to be fair, most nights. So sometimes it can get exciting, sometimes it can't. I'm a big pizza lover. I just have pizza nearly every night.
Plain pepperoni and cheese for me. I'm good with just that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Oh, maybe shredded chicken and stuff. That'd be really nice. Yeah. It's just I'm that sort of person who just like picks and stuff what to have on the pizza and all that. So, Kaitlyn, I like to obviously start off with the obvious questions. How did you get the role of Minnie Mouse?
Minnie Mouse, she came through just like every other voiceover audition that goes through our agents. That morning voice. Can you hear it?
Not really. You sound perfectly fine.
Good. Well, I have a little bit of water just in case. Always drink your water, kids.
Yeah.
Minnie, let's see. Russi had passed away at the end of July in 2019.
Yeah, I remember that day very well.
A couple weeks later, they had sent out the audition to continue her legacy. And we had about a week to do it. So I had booked time at a recording studio because you had to do voice matching for pre-established lines. You had to do unestablished lines to see, hey, can you maintain the voice? Can you maintain the character? Maintain the style of acting for these lines that have no reference? And then you had to sing a song. And so I definitely wanted to go to a studio for that because I didn't have the capability to record a song and match it up to the instrumental track from my home setup at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I have since gotten a much better one, thankfully.
Well, that's good.
But we did the audition, and I sent it to my agent and said, if you have a moment to listen to it, if there's anything that needs to get changed or fixed, let me know, because it was very, 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 very important to me. And she said it sounded great, don't change a thing. So we sent it off. And then about a week after that, I was working on Frozen 2 in our looping group, and I got the call of, hey, they'd love to see you for a callback the next day. So we did the callback, and that week it was so stressful because I was constantly checking my phone, constantly checking my voicemail, just in case a call didn't come through, because I didn't know what the answer would be.
I'm like that a lot.
And it felt good. The first callback was good. We really focused on a lot of nuances and a lot of specifics. And when you get that specific, that deep, then you get nervous. Like I was definitely nervous of like, oh man, am I hitting this? We're really driving this home. But it still felt good. And so the rest of the week I was like, oh, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? And then it was D23 Expo that week for 2019. So I was able to at least enjoy my weekend. And the people I know, just in various branches of the company who were at the expo, they would approach me and go like, hey, we heard about what's going on. We haven't heard anything else. Good luck. And like, that doesn't help me if no one's heard anything else. But all the worrying was for naught, because the following week they had said, we'd love for you to come in for a second callback. Like, okay, great. Oh, I got a second callback. And sometimes characters like these, when they're so big and they're very focused, it's not uncommon to have 3 or 4 callbacks, just because how many people can do it. I had no idea who else had auditioned
Yeah.
for it,
Yeah.
who else was getting callbacks, who else was in the running, how close. Like I had no idea, and so it was just a matter of like, well, keep your head focused on your work, you keep doing what you do, and don't worry about anyone else. So we went in for the second callback, and it was very much just like the first one. And oftentimes, when it's something like that, they want to just confirm everything you did in the audition and everything you did in the first callback. Can you pull it out again? Like, is this something that is consistent? It wasn't a trick of editing. It wasn't like the 30th take of a line that was finally the best. Was it your first or second or third take in that wheelhouse? So we did the callback, and it went well. And they said, all right, you're going to head to Disney TV next week. So I thought, oh, great. I have a third callback right out the gate. I don't have to worry about it. That's so nice. And I told my agent about it, like, hey, they want to see me next week. Oh, that's so wonderful, Kaitlyn. I'm so proud of you. I gotta go. Bye. And so I went to the studio the following week, and they had a bunch of paperwork for me to sign. And I was kind of like, I don't have to sign paperwork for a callback, maybe an NDA. And that's when they said, no, this is the job. They didn't tell you? No, I thought it was another callback. So, and then I had to go in and work. So I didn't have any time to freak out or panic or get in my head, but I also didn't have that moment of like, congratulations, they chose you. And I would tastefully cry, and it would be like this whole thing. And like, it wasn't like the fantasy.
Do you want to be the
No.
mouse? Do you want to be? Do you want to be the mouse? Do you
You
want
want
to
to
be?
be
Do
the
you want to
mouse
be
kid?
Mickey's? Do you want
You
to
want to
be?
be
Do
a star, don't you?
you want to be Mickey's companion?
But so I went in like, okay, I guess we're doing this. And there was, I'm probably exaggerating, but there was like 15 people in the room, and like I've never seen any of them before. They all wore nice suits. I recognized um, the head of Disney TV, who I've known for several years, and his assistant, who I also knew. I knew of the vocal director, and I knew the engineer because she was my engineer for all the callbacks.
Oh.
And so it was really nice. Like, okay, I recognize him, but I didn't know anybody else.
Mhm.
And so we did a couple of these stop motion little holiday shorts that were on YouTube, and I think they aired on Disney Channel, just these tiny little things,
Oh,
and a
cool.
couple of ADR lines for some episodes of Mickey Mouse Mixed Up Adventures where Rusey had performed the role, but there were a couple of pickup lines they needed just to add in. So she would start the line, and I would match in and slide in underneath. And I did that
Ah.
for a lot of Mixed Up Adventure episodes in the beginning. And so I
Ah.
was under additional voices, but I popped in here and there as Minnie just to get get the ball rolling.
But Rusey was still mainly credited when you
Yes,
did those
yes.
episodes.
So she still did those performances, and up until the episode where I took over, we kept it. It was definitely kept Rusey the whole way. And I didn't. When I got the role, I didn't tell anybody. It was a very private thing for me. And she was still so prolific at the time, and we wanted all of her upcoming projects to have their time in the spotlight. And she was just so well loved by the community, and like you want that time to not just to grieve for her fans and her friends and her family, but for her projects to get their justice, to get their spotlight. Like Mickey's Runaway Railroad was a big
I
one.
think that was her last project she did. That was opened at the start of 2020, I believe.
I think that was like her posthumous project. Well,
Yeah.
actually,
I
it was
think it was
actually
one of the final things released that she recorded before her death, people have said.
She had recorded it around 2017, 2018, because
Ah.
you need those tracks first
Yeah.
in order to animate the sections of the ride that needed to be animated to tracks or to program animatronics. So a lot of that stuff comes after the fact. So recording the lines first gives them a springboard to go off of. So her, see, I can't speak to a lot of her last projects, but I will say that the
It's
most
okay.
recent last project for her was a soundtrack that just came out called The Mouse Pack. And
Ah.
it's a collection of old standard songs that are sung by the voice actors. And so Minnie's solos on that track are all Rusey, and they're so lovely, very very
Wow.
beautiful.
You
And
say it's called the Mouse Pack.
the Mouse Pack, it's like the Rat Pack, but it was the Mouse Pack.
The Mouse Pack.
And so it just came out. So a lot of
Ah, here it
the
is.
let's see, there was a couple songs on there that we were group singing. So I sang Friendship, and I
Mhm.
sang parts for Think of Mickey Mouse, and I think there's one more, But the solo standards were it's Rusey for Minnie, Tress McNeil as Daisy. She's just fabulous.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if any of Mickey's songs are some of Wayne's solos from back in the time. I haven't heard the whole album yet. I probably should get Spotify.
On Google, it's just saying that the artist
Listen
is
to
just
these things,
Goofy,
and then
Donald
Brett,
Duck, and Daisy Duck. So I don't know who sings what.
and then Brett and I sang on some. He was on Friendship as well. So that's the most recent project that features her work posthumously.
Well, that's good. That's good that she's still,
Lovely.
yeah,
Oh yeah, and
her voice can still be heard.
there's still plenty of moments in like fireworks or parades or theme park attractions that feature her. And I only come in if they need to update the show or change things. And so if they need new lines, we'll re-record the whole show or the whole performance. That way it stays consistent throughout. And my goal is to be as close to her as possible, where you wouldn't need that or you wouldn't be able to tell. But at the same time, as close as I can possibly get, Rusey was one of a kind. And so you just know that voice. You just know that sweet sound from your childhood.
I can just
So
hear it in my head.
I'm certainly hoping that my work can continue on as being somebody who's soft to the children, who invites them into play in the TV shows. And then, the Mickey shorts, she can go crazy, she can go wild, and that's the fun style of humor I enjoy. And then just having fun in theme parks, cruise lines, all those toys, so many lovely things. And she has a bit of a stretch too. Like the TV show, we often lower her voice a little bit, just because it's a more maternal-ish sound for the kids. It's softer, and the pacing is a little gentler. But then when you go up to our traditional projects, then
Wonderful
her
World
voice
of
gets
Mickey
higher.
Mouse. Yeah.
Yeah, her voice gets higher for those, but it's not shrill. It's not, making your ears bleed. And I always tell them, like, if you hear something that doesn't hit right, let me know and we'll redo it. And sometimes it's funny, but a lot of our recording is done through Zoom, or at least we
Oh.
have Zoom as our conduit to see animatics, to see each other. So there's a human face out there. It's not just a blank void. And
Yeah.
we'll record with a different sound system like Source Connect or IpDiddle. But if I get too high if she gets to scream or gets to have those fun elements, Zoom won't hear them. So I'll just drop out completely and they won't hear anything. And then they'll replay it back through the other sound system. But if you're too high, Zoom is like, that's not a human voice. We're not going to share that. So it makes me laugh and it makes me cry.
You could just go like,
gotta do it again.
and like, oh no, I didn't say anything. I was just miming. I wasn't screaming or anything.
Or you scream so high it's a dog whistle, so only Pluto can hear it.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah. On that Mouse Pack album, is that Tony as Donald Duck or is it Daniel as Donald Duck? Because I know they brought in Daniel to do it for Roadster Races and Mixed Up Adventures, and then also for like, no, it was just for those, because I know Tony does it for Mickey Mouse Funhouse and the Kingdom Hearts series as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It is Tony on the soundtrack. Because Daniel has only done Donald for, like you said, Roadster Racers and Mixed Up Adventures. Everything else is Tony.
Right.
But that's another song I haven't heard yet, because I don't think I've ever heard Donald sing before, except like the old cartoons when it was Clarence Nash.
Yeah.
So I really should probably do my homework about my own character voices and their friends. Ooh, that's on me.
Yeah.
But, and then Bill sings for Goofy.
Yeah, I love Bill. I spoke to him for my documentary.
Bill,
so sweet.
I'll tell you right now, Bill is one of the crucial people who helped give me my career. I don't know if I would have the things I have without him. Because we met our friend Lee, our mutual friend Lee. She met me when I was working at Disneyland, and we just kind of chatted, got to know each other. And she was a production assistant on TV and film, so she was in the on-camera world. And she went to Comic-Con, excuse me, and I go to Comic-Con every year just for fun. I'm an attendee. Like, I want to go to my panels. I'm going to go to the exhibit hall. I want to do all that stuff. And sometimes Mark Evanier will have cartoon voice panels. So if I'm invited, I'll go to those as well. But
oh yeah, Mark Evanier, he's great as well.
He's great.
I interviewed him as well.
Smart.
Yeah.
So Lee and I met up at Comic-Con, and she introduced me to Bill and his wife Jen, who are just firecrackers. They're so fun. So much fun. Jen is a hoot. And so we got to talking about, I really want to make a break in voiceover. I I didn't have the strongest agent at the time, so I wasn't getting a lot of opportunities. And I knew, like, if I'm going to make any kind of strides, you have to get with an agent who is frequently working with, in the animation business, Nickelodeon, Disney, DreamWorks, Cartoon Network. Netflix was starting to grow, so I needed somebody who had their pulse on those things. So Bill and his son Austin, they have a demo production house called Toonhouse Inc. So they had been thinking about it for a while, so they were establishing a demo production house, and I
Mhm.
was their first client.
Ah,
So
cool.
they made my first animation demo with me, and I had booked Mr. Pickles at that time on my
Hmm.
own, which is a crazy, crazy story. Too long didn't read. I had gone to Comic Con to see a drawn together panel.
Oh yeah, because you were Smurfette in the Drawn Together film,
Yeah,
weren't you?
like 3 or 4 years prior, there was a
Yeah.
panel for the movie, and I knew Jess Harnell personally, just because I've seen so many voice actors at Comic Con, and I got to know them through the years.
Yeah.
And so I knew him, and I knew Rob Paulson, and I knew Maurice LaMarche, and just knowing them through the con. And so we go to the panel, and they do a contest, and the winner of the contest will be drawn into the movie. But then, as everyone was cheering for that, the person also said they'll get a voice line too. And I was like, did anyone hear that? Did anyone hear that? I'm not crazy, right? I heard that. That could be something. All right, I need to get in on this. And they started picking people, and they picked two guys. And then my friend Diana, bless her heart, she's sitting next to me, and she just goes, "Pick a chick!" Loud as all get out, and everyone turns and looks at her. And Jess sees me, and he's like, "Oh, you come here. I know you. Nepotism. Come up here." And the contest was how long you could stay handcuffed to the creator, and we didn't know that. And it was something. I'll leave it at that. It was something, and I won the contest.
How long?
Bill,
How long was it?
oh god, we were about 5 hours. Yeah, when your family lives down there, and you have a bed and you have food and a shower waiting for you. Yeah, it was rough, but not it was fun. It was fun. I will say that. And Jess was like, "Hey, I'll help you out. I know you want to do voiceover, so go home." This kind of blew up in everyone's faces, and I think ultimately what they did was they drew all of us into the movie, and I did the voice roles because Jess really vouched for me, and I got to do three of them because we did a little old lady, we did a girl in the bar, and then we did Smurfette. And that was Matt and Dave. They were the creators of Drawn Together, and I'm still friends with them. They're lovely, lovely people. And they created another pilot for Adult Swim, Coffin Dodgers. And I went in to for a callback for one of the roles on that. And it
Mm-hmm.
was me and Jennifer Tilly. And I think you know who
Love
booked
Jennifer
it.
Tilly. Yeah.
With a voice like that, how could she
I
not?
know, yeah, I can just
And
hear it, yeah.
somebody at that table that was part of the callbacks, they passed my name on to the head of creative comedic development, if I recall correctly. It's all, I've written it down somewhere. I can't believe I'm forgetting the name. And then he, in turn, passed me on to the people who were doing Mr. Pickles.
Hmm.
So I was like, well, this isn't happening, but here, read for these roles. And I booked one of the leads of the show that way. So I had my first show, which was very exciting, and it was Adult Swim. So be prepared for anything. So I've done so many random characters on that show. And I think a personal favorite, just by name alone, was Astronaut Dolphin Detective. And like, whatever that is, I have to be that. It's an astronaut and a detective. You can't go wrong.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I had Mr. Pickles, and Bill made my demo. And so, like, okay, you've got these two elements. Let's see if we can get you into my agency at AVO Talent Agency. And I had been doing workshops and classes, reading for different agents and agencies.
Hmm.
And it's fun, but you'll never hear what you're like compared to like professional ears that have been in the business for so long. So I was the best I could be at the time, but is it good enough for certain agencies, or do certain agencies have people who already do what I do and they want to their loyalty is to those persons who came first.
Mhm.
So one agency, Atlas Talent, they had offered a trial period, but
Mhm.
then like less than 3 days later, I got a call from AVO after that audition, and they'd said, we'd love to represent you, like full out. So I went with AVO because it was a guarantee. And they was primarily commercials with a year and a half contract. And as I worked more on animation, and that's what I wanted to do the most. So I just kept taking workshops and classes. Um, watch those cartoons. That's what you're studying. You're studying to be in these cartoons. Watch them. See what the writing's like. See what the acting style is like. Because realistic acting, like regular show, there's an exaggeration to it for sure. So you don't want to be monotonic, but you definitely want to pay attention to those beats. Like, what is extreme for them? What is low key for them? You got to find that marriage point. So that's how I got my first agency, and I've been with them ever since.
Wow, that's
Did we
so
answer the
cool.
actual question you had?
I can't remember the actual question. Oh yeah, it was how did you get the role
Oh
of
yeah,
Minnie?
that's the whole point.
Yeah, well you
All
did
right.
you did tell me because you said about the callback and stuff, and then the actual
Yes.
job and stuff. So generally, we did answer the question.
Okay, good. Yeah, and I got into the agent, and like I kept it pretty secret that I wanted to be Minnie. Like some people knew, and then a very very good friend
Wow.
who was a very good source of this sort of thing. He had said, having that aspiration is wonderful, but you don't want to like make it kind of your thing. You don't want to project that out in the world because
Oh
then you
yeah,
have a
yeah.
performer who's performing this character, and you don't want to be seen as gunning for that role.
Oh,
And I
trust me,
certainly didn't
I've
want
seen
that
too
because I
many of
admired her so much. And like, I'm thinking the far future because I was in my late 20s, and Rusi had booked it when she was in her mid 40s, and who knows how long she would go for. So it was just something I wanted to like work on to be ready for whenever that life event would happen.
yeah.
And so I didn't tell anybody. I don't know if I ever told Bill. I think I
Honestly,
didn't.
that's the best thing not to tell anybody because I know a few people. Obviously not going to name drop because that is very unprofessional. They always say, "Oh yeah, well, they want to be the voice of Scooby Doo next, or they want to be the voice of Fred Jones after Frank Welker goes." Or they literally. So I remember someone literally asked him on his website because he has a little question and answer board. Have you heard my Fred Jones impression? What do you think of it? Do you think can I take over you after you
Mm,
retire or pass him? Like, don't do that.
yeah,
That's the
you
worst
don't
thing
want
you
to
can
do that.
say.
The desire to perform and continue a character because you love them so much, that is admirable, and that
Mhm.
is something that we can understand. You want to do it because you love a character so much and you love what they give to their audiences, and you want to be someone who gives that to your audience as well. So I
Yeah.
understand that because I was there. But
Yeah.
you never know how you come off to other people, and it's
Makes
one
you
of
look like
those
a bit of a
ones like
show off.
there's no need to talk about it or try to push something like that. If it's meant to be, it'll be. Or when those types of things happen, set yourself up for success by, looking what would you need to do in order to achieve something like this. You need an agent. You need an agent who has connections to the persons who cast these types of roles. You need to know, listen to that character and all their projects, know all of their emotions and points of views, because it's not just sounding like them, because there's plenty of characters with actors behind them that are just doing like a voice match. And of course, this is my personal opinion, so take it with a grain of salt. But there's been plenty of times I've heard a voice match for a character and it just doesn't click. It sounds like the character, but the performance is a little dead, or they're just not feeling the emotion that's supposed to come with these moments. And I certainly won't say any names, but
Yeah,
you
yeah.
really want to make sure you're evoking an emotion. And even if it's not exactly the way the predecessor did, if it's your own version of it, but it still means something, that you can be proud of that. You can own that by giving to others as they have given unto you. Um, but I think Bill knew. No, I keep thinking about it. I think Bill and Brett knew because I'd met them 15 years ago, I think. So I've known them for
Wow.
some time, but I definitely just didn't talk about it. I practiced on my own. It was a party trick for friends, or we'd goof around, no pun intended, down at Disneyland, um, back in the old days. before like cell phones and cameras were everywhere. You could
Yeah,
be,
the Nokia and the Bluetooth and the BlackBerry.
yeah, and like you never know who's filming, so be cool, kids, be cool. And I practiced because I would work shifts where like, oh, it's the Minnie's Fly Girl show, so you hear her performance in the show. So I would just quietly stand to the side of the stage and I would mimic it, or I would like sing under my breath, like just practicing.
Yeah, yeah.
And I had worked on somebody who helps with casting for Disney. I had taken a workshop with him, and he knew the extent of my desire, and just like fun goofing around. He knew like, hey, that's something, keep practicing on. You never know, but that encouragement really helped me out. And then a year later, we were all very, very surprised when she passed away. It was very sudden, and no one knew.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think she was. I think she was. I think she was ill. I believe. I'm not
Yes,
sure.
she was ill, and she kept it private.
Yeah, yeah. Of
And
course. Yeah.
and that is something so admirable for Disney. Like when they utilize actors for their characters. If something happens,
Colon cancer.
um,
Yeah.
if something happens, the projects can be on hold for a little bit while they wait for the moment to pass. So
Yeah.
next week I'm going on vacation. So later today we're doing a few projects just to get them on track, since we
Yeah.
won't be able to do them next week. And then in 2 weeks when I return, I'll probably have a lot of stuff to catch up on. So
Yeah.
they make it work. If you're out of town or on vacation, or if you're sick, they'll wait. They'll wait for you. Because I've had several people message me like same thing like the person who said about doing Fred's impression. They're like, I do a fantastic voice. Could you get me in touch with Disney if you're ever sick or out of town? I can cover for you.
Pretty sure they already have
Let me
understudies
know.
already.
So and I didn't reply because I didn't want it to be taken the wrong way. But like, thank you for the offer, but I think I'll be all right. And I haven't been sick yet. That's taken me out for a week or two. And I always give them advance notice if I'm doing a vacation or something. But
Yeah.
they tend to stay pretty close to our persons who are gifted with the characters.
Yeah.
And we would only really need a voice match if, perhaps it's scratch track for something or a placeholder for something. But even then, like the placeholder stuff that I've dubbed back in on, it's like one of the artists who do it, or one of the show creators who just put in the line for pacing and then we'll match it. So we don't really have backups for ourselves, um, unless something was absolutely needed. I've never heard of it though, and knock on wood, maybe I put that into existence.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Of
it's
course.
definitely like, for whoever continues the legacy after me, they could have been born by now. They may not have been born yet, but
Maybe.
there's no harm in practicing what the characters you love, and doing your very best. And even if it's not something that matches exactly, it could be a whole new character on its own. Or if you tweak it just a little bit, you've created an original character that could be just as important to culture.
Yeah.
Like everyone knows who the Animaniacs are.
Yeah.
Everyone knows. And
Everyone.
that's the type of character you want. You want a legacy character like that. That'll endure. I'm just taking over a little bit for the boss because he used to do Minnie too, Walt Disney. But I'm just covering the line.
Yeah.
It is the greatest honor of my career. I will say that. I love her so much.
Yeah, to grow up with Reese and then just to always like be Minnie and now you're Minnie, like wow, that's
I know.
like
And I take it super seriously, but I also have a lot of fun with it. But having worked at Disneyland, we see Disneyland is the middleman. So you've got your audience and you've got the characters they love, the movies that make them feel something, the songs that they sing all the time. So what's the middleman to let you connect to that? It's Disneyland.
yeah.
Children up till 5 and beyond, they love these characters. So when you take them to Disneyland, there they are, right there. You can talk to them, you can hug them. You will be able to hug them soon.
Yeah, I've heard,
I
yeah,
had to
four
remember
days.
what we've been doing for the last 2 years.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but you can take pictures with them. You can tell them she watches your show every day. She loves you. little kids who dine at the restaurant where Pooh Bear meets, they love to give him little honey packets. And it's just little honey packets from the condiment table right over there. But it's
Oh.
a big deal for these little ones to go get that honey and to put it in Pooh Bear's paw. We gave you something you love, Pooh Bear, because you give us love every day. That means something to them. And you want to make sure that that magic is maintained and that
Yeah.
integrity is still there. So I don't talk about Minnie too often because I want to make sure the magic is still there for all our little ones who are very computer savvy and may start looking around. And to those who love voiceover, they'll find out who we are. They'll know who we are. They'll come visit. They'll come say hi. We can chat with them. But keeping that magic as long as possible, that's something extra special.
I agree. I fully agree with you, Kaitlyn. Definitely. Just a quick one. I'm not sure if you can do this because of like your contracts and stuff, because I know Daniel couldn't do this with Donald Duck, but could you speak as Minnie or do a few little line as Minnie, or is it in your contract that you can't on like podcasts and stuff?
But we don't have a contract. I could say a few things. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
just
just for fun.
yeah.
Like let's see. What's a life event that everyone's coming?
Easter.
Easter. Yeah, there you go. Oh, hello, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful Easter this year. Be sure to go on an egg hunt and find lots of candy. It'll be as sweet as you. There's that morning voice. I do all
Oh
my sessions in the afternoon so
my
this goes away. But
gosh.
you know what? I give myself credit for that. But
Sounds
I've done
just
little.
like Ruth.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That
Oh my
means a lot.
god.
I told myself if I'm going to achieve any matching for Rusi that's as close to Kaitlyn as it can be, it'll be totally Minnie from 1980s.
Oh my
You know,
gosh.
from the start. And I think I've nailed that down. Oh, I loved it. Have everyone out in the audience, have you seen Totally Minnie? Because you really need to.
Yeah, comment down below. Comment down below.
It's on YouTube. It's ridiculously 80s.
Wow.
That just speaks for itself. But I used to practice singing as Minnie by singing her duet with Elton John. And hopefully it happens this year. But one of my best friends, Victor, and I, we want to dress up as Minnie and Elton for a Halloween party. So I want him to get like the pink leisure suit with the little newsboy hat. And I'll get like the giant yellow bow and so that is a goal for me. We just haven't had Halloween for 3 years. So I'm waiting for that.
Yeah, but wow, honestly, because obviously growing up, I heard Rusi as Minnie Mouse and stuff, and to hear you do it, it's in a good way. It's haunting because it's literally Rusi. I can't hear any difference. I remember I was on holiday, obviously, when it came out that you were the new voice of Minnie, and they said, oh yeah, have you seen this new episode of Rose Mixed Up Adventures? And they sent it me, not obviously telling me that it was you. And I looked at it, I thought it was one of her final episodes that she did, so I watched it and I looked at the credit, it said Minnie Mouse Kaitlyn Robrock. I was like, oh my goodness, I thought it was Rusi this entire time. I was like,
good. Well, and that's harking back to what I was saying earlier. Like even if some people have been like, well, I can hear the differences, and like that's okay, I can hear the differences too.
I can't. I just think it's the
I will
same
never
character.
be her. I will never be her, but I definitely want to evoke what she evoked to others. That's my job.
Yeah, of course.
Make you connect to this character. And the sounds can be adapted to, and I work as hard as I can to sound just like her. And to those who like, if somebody's like, well, it dips in and out, like, well, it's dipping because it's going to Kaitlyn. So the parts that seem to dip out, that's me coming through, not Rusi. But it's like a Venn diagram. So like our circles interact for most of the time, but there's those slivers on the side where like this is truly something Rusi could do, and this is something Kaitlyn can do. And it, like I said earlier, like a voice match, as perfect as it could possibly be, you got to have the acting behind it. You got to have the emotion, and then you can adapt to a different sound if you love the acting of the character and you feel for them. And it was a shock for a lot of people with the shorts when it was Chris doing Mickey instead of Brett.
Yeah, I think it's because they wanted someone who sounded like Walt's Mickey.
Chris sounds a lot like Walt's Mickey, and Brett it truly is like
Wayne's Mickey. Yeah, so yeah.
It had those levels, and they had a very specific vision, so they went with that specific choice. And your ears don't focus on that, even if you don't remember how Walt's performances were, because the acting is leading itself to the writing of this show. And of course, Rusi's Minnie wasn't like the super, super old school Minnies of the day either. We just adapted around it. So every project is different. And like the singing is, if I sing too low, it drops out for Minnie, for me, just because I'm a soprano. So singing mezzo or alto notes can be a little dipping. But for Rusi, that was her natural voice. So many things that were just a breeze were her natural, beautiful voice inflections. And I cannot do Huey, Dewey, and Louie to save my life. So when those characters came around of like, continuing those legacies, like I'm telling you right now, I don't think it's gonna work. But like Christina V does an amazing job because Rusi had done her nephew's voice for young Donald Duck for a DuckTales episode, and that's where that came about. So Christina V does it, and to my ear, it sounds phenomenal. It sounds great. So like there are good hands that can carry on legacies for characters. You just got to find the right people.
Yeah, and all of Lucy's Simpsons characters are done. Majority of them are done by Grey Griffin, like Martin Prince and Sherry and Terry, I believe.
Yes.
I think, yeah.
And
So,
I don't think they have Uter on anymore.
oh,
It's
do they
been a
not?
while.
Oh,
I haven't seen Simpsons in a while, so
uh,
I'm not sure what the gang is like these days.
yeah, I don't really watch it anymore. In fact, I don't even watch TV at all. It's not really my thing, to be fair.
You are better than me.
Oh,
We
that's
have
not
all the
good.
streaming. We've got all the streaming packages, so I'm trying to catch up on everything.
I just watch cartoons on YouTube, or it's just Disney Plus. Yeah, I'm a big Disney Plus viewer, so I tend to view a lot of things on there, like all the Disney afternoon shows, like DuckTales and
Yes,
Gargoyles and Gummy
Tailspin.
Bears,
Oh,
Tailspin.
gargoyles.
Love God. In fact, he was also with ABO, Tom Adcox Hernandez. I
Mm-hmm.
spoke to him. Yeah, I spoke to him a week ago yesterday. He was
Oh,
so
lovely.
sweet.
I met
Yeah.
him years and years. We met years ago. We chatted. We exchanged phone numbers, and then I never reached out. But I think it's still in here. You know what? Now I have to find out. Let's see if Tom is in here.
If you can't find, I'll just say, "Oh yeah, Kaitlyn wants to reconnect with you." I'm just like the little bridge
Yep,
in
there he
between.
is, Tom Adcox.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
never update my contact book.
Yeah, I don't
So
know either, to be
everyone I've
fair.
ever had is in that book.
I've got no numbers on my phone, so because I hardly know anyone. Cool.
Oh, Gargoyles was huge. If I could bring back any Disney afternoon show and continue where we left off, by the creator's choice, because I think the third season wasn't his creation, but
Nah.
he did continue them in comic form, and I bought all the comics. But
Oh
if he could
dear.
continue
Wow.
any show, I would want it to be Gargoyles. And you
Yeah,
gotta have Keith
definitely.
David. You gotta have Keith David.
Yeah. Who's gonna be Hudson though? Because Ed Asner's now gone.
Who knows? Just
Yeah.
do a voice match. But
Maybe. Yeah. Well, I
but
know Frank
there's
Welker
somebody out
plays
there.
Bronx. Yeah,
There's
his little
someone
dog
out there, I'm
companion.
sure.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, fingers crossed. There is someone out there. Hopefully. Yeah.
You just
Um.
gotta have the right circumstances and find the right avenues. Brett was an artist out in Kansas City, and he had no voiceover connections at all that I know of. But he had a friend who did have knowledge of voiceover or Disney or the casting at the time. So he was able to like give the audition to Brett, have Brett cut a sample of it and send it to the people in charge just because he knew them. And like he took that opportunity and it paid off.
Yeah,
Big time.
definitely. Yeah.
Big time.
Speaking of Brett, I'd like to ask, what is it like to work with the cast members? I mean, obviously they've been really welcoming to you since obviously Rusi passed
They
away.
have.
Did you even meet Rusi before she passed away?
I did. I had a
Did you?
what is it called? What did I would call it? I would call it the three strikes with Rusi. The first time I had ever met her, it was I think 2010. We were at a society function of some nature,
Mhm.
and she was walking by and she was like saying hello to everyone, and she shook my hand, and I was so verklempt I couldn't say a word, and I was like, "You blew it! You blew it! You didn't do anything," and I wasn't anything at the time. I was barely into voiceover at all. And then the second time was like 2011, and she had come to Disneyland because at Disneyland for the entertainment department with characters, we had these little classes where that you can talk to people beyond the berm, as they called it, people who do Broadway shows or local theater or TV or film or voiceover. So they had a class with Rusi, and everyone knew I loved her, and at the time was goofing around with the Minnie voice. So like, Kaitlyn, she's coming to this class. You got to go to this class. And we went there, and it was just a lovely conversation with her. She talked about her life. She talked about Wayne. She talked about me. She talked about all these beautiful things. And afterwards, you know, we said hello, and I was crying my eyes out. So I couldn't speak. Again, I couldn't speak, but we took a
Oh,
photo together. And I was like, afterwards, like, you have that at least. You may have goofed it, you may have boofed it up, but you have your photo and you have that memory. And then several years later, at June Foray's memorial service.
oh yeah, because I
Um,
believe you went. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, I went there. A lot of us went there. And my friend Katie Lee, who's known Rusi for
I
years,
love Katie. Yeah,
known her for years, and
she's
I just never
great.
really thought about like, I just never thought about it. And we're there, and she's like, Kaitlyn, I need you to meet my friend Rusi. And I was like, okay, this is it. She doesn't remember those first two times. We're not going to say anything. We're going to be real cool about this. We're going to be really cool about this. So I thanked her for her work. I loved her performances. I worked at Disneyland helping out Minnie at the park, and that made her so happy. And she said, "Say hello to my friends down there." And she named off names of people I know and I work with. So I was like, I absolutely will do that. Thank you so much. And we had a lovely photo. And I was like, that's what it was. That's what I wanted. Oh, I feel good. I feel good.
Can you
So
imagine if you
that,
had like a mini off between you two, just talking Minnie's voices? That would
oh,
have been
I
genius.
didn't say a thing about doing voiceover. That I didn't feel that was the place for it.
Oh yeah.
I wanted it to be
Oh yeah,
my
yeah.
my adoration of her.
Did
So
you meet June at all?
I met her once at Comic-Con years ago, and she
Oh,
autographed my Looney Tunes DVD.
wow, that's cool.
I know
Yeah.
the signature's slightly smudged away, and it's like
Ooh.
no one will believe me if I don't take a picture. But
Oh,
at the time, it was the same thing. When someone is so beloved and so well known, they're not going to remember you very much. So I was like, well, this is for me. This is for my memory. So I got to meet
yeah,
her that way, and I got to meet and Rusi and tell her like how her work made me feel and how much I liked her, because it's a celebration for June, but like let's celebrate all of our women in voiceover, because all of them got their start from June, in that generation. And my generation, a lot of it also looks up not just to June, but a lot of it also looks up to these women who are like the second generation. If June herself was the first and these other fantastic women are the second, my generation's like the third, because I knew who June was exactly. But for me, my June Foray was Tress McNeil and Rusi Taylor. For me, that was the standards, the gold standards for voiceover. So
yeah,
it begets unto itself. You want to continue to be somebody for the future kids to know, because
yeah.
they'll know who June is, no problem. But
I know who she is.
who
Of course
who
I
has
do.
she inspired? Who has she encouraged to go on and make more strides? And those
Me.
women do it for future women, and so forth and so on, and it feeds itself. It's an endless loop of love.
Yeah, definitely. Well, time's running out, but I just quickly wanted to
What
ask.
already?
Yeah, we've got 5 minutes until 11
Okay, well,
o'clock.
we're gonna have to do a part two.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I'm sure there's more stuff to talk
Yeah,
about. I can't think of it
of
at the
course. There's a lot
moment.
more questions. Yeah, but
Oh no, we didn't even get to your questions.
it's okay. But you answered a few of them. That's the
Okay.
main thing. But I just quickly wanted to know, what is it like working? And I know you told me this before. Have you met Corey Burton? I know you haven't met Frank Welker, but have you recorded with him like on a Zoom, or have you even talked to him at all?
No, I haven't had
Ooh.
any exposure to Frank just yet. Maybe one day, you never know. Corey, we've been on Zoom, like we were on Zoom together for a rap party, so that was really lovely,
That's so
for Mickey
cool.
Mouse Funhouse. And I have come in on Zoom, like if I have to record from home, I've come in on the end of other sessions. So like say my session's at 11 a.m. I would
Yeah.
be logging in now at 10:55 a.m. to be ready. But if it's the tail end of another session, I'll just mute myself and I'll stop my video so I won't be a distraction. And I'll just wait, plenty of people hop into each other's Zooms, but we stay quiet, we stay in the background, we just wait. And it's fun to get those few minutes of seeing your peer perform. So I've been able to see Dee Bradley Baker work his magic. I've seen Nika Futterman and vice versa. She's come in on the ends of mine. Tress has popped in a time or two. We've crossed over. And I have met her in person once, but then pandemic hit so soon after. So I haven't had a lot of privilege yet to be with her. But hopefully in the future.
Yeah.
And we don't record ensemble for most voiceover.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
usually
have
solo
yet to
nowadays.
I have yet to be in a session like with Bill or with Brett, but we
Or
go
Frank.
off or Frank or Tony, but we go off each other's performances of those who've recorded before, so you hear it and you can lead into it. It's as if they're right there. So
Yeah.
that helps a lot. And so I'm always super cognizant of like, you're the first one to record on this, so everyone else will take their cues from you. So like, all right, let's make sure we're giving them the best you can possibly give. Because even now it's like, do they still like me? I hope they still like me. I gotta be nice and a good
Cat eyes. Yeah. It's just the glistening eyes emoji, and then just the two emoji hands are just like that, just together. Yeah. Kaitlyn.
Do a part 2.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
In case you can't tell, I like to talk a lot.
I like to talk a lot as well. I sometimes talk really fast. You know, I spoke to John Sheeter, the guy who has the world record for the fastest talking speaker. I think I could be the next record for the fastest talking speaker. I don't know.
Yes.
Okay. So, Kaitlyn, thank you so much for talking to me today. You've been amazing.
We got it.
Where can we find you on social media?
The social media, that's what you kids all like to do, isn't it? Let's see. Twitter should be at Kaitlyn Robrock. Instagram is at krobrock. I probably should have been consistent, but I wasn't.
It's fine.
And I think Facebook, it's like Kaitlyn Robrock
voiceover. Yeah. That's right.
Felicia's my little icon.
Yeah, Felicia Sundew. Amphibia.
K Robrock voice is my name at Tumblr. I'm barely ever on it. I really should change that. And I think that's everything. I have a TikTok, but I don't have any videos. I have no idea how to make a video or what would be fun.
I don't know either. Cool. So complicated.
So I need to get that going because there's like over 1,000 people on TikTok, and like, what do you want me to do, guys? Just tell me.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out. My workload is pretty specific through July, but after July, I've got so much more free time. So it's like, okay, let's make this a thing for 2022. Make your TikTok in August.
Yeah. And hopefully we can. Oh yes, I've completely forgot to say we're doing a part 2 because we did not cover everything. So we'll come back with a part 2 August. I'd say August. So 4 months from now, hopefully.
I'm sure we could do it sooner than that. It's like snagging an hour or 2 in the morning from home. That's much easier than like crafting a video. Yeah. I'm old.
Trust me, I am as well. Turned 18 in February. I'm 18.
You're 18?
Yeah.
Take care of yourself. Much older, my dear. That'll serve you well.
Bless you. So to you at home, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, go follow Kaitlyn on all her forms of social media, and we'll see you hopefully for part 2 in the future. Stay happy, stay safe, be yourself. All right. Bye. And cut. Goodbye and cut.